Are you doing anything special for Christmas this year? Today, the Christmas countdown begins! So Christmas is coming and today we are all decked out in our Christmas gear and we've got a beautiful Christmas set because we're so excited to be talking about Christmas. It is possibly my favourite time of the year.
Possibly, I think it's the best.
Definitely my favourite time of the year. So for this special Christmas episode, right, today I have with me my very good friend Zheng Kai.
Everybody.
And the reason why we invited him, right, is because we are both Christmas people, but we have a very different idea of what an ideal
Polar
Christmas
opposite,
celebration looks like. Exactly. So Zheng Kai, why don't you begin by telling us what you're doing for Christmas this year?
So this year is slightly different. Okay, this year, right, I am going to Taiwan to celebrate my Christmas, right? So I'm flying on the 25th. And the funny thing is that like, we bought the ticket without Taiwan being open in hope that it will open.
Wow, risk taker.
So it opened already. So we're going to Taiwan to celebrate Christmas and countdown. But that's not usually how I celebrate. Like, that's not, I would say, even Taiwan is very nice, right? Not really my ideal because I like to spend time with friends, families. I like to go for gatherings, party, right, to celebrate my Christmas. So that's, to me, right, is how I usually celebrate Christmas.
So I heard that once upon a time you went for 4 Christmas gatherings in one day.
It's rumors, okay? It's all rumors, okay? At most, I go for 3.
At most 3?
At most 3 in like one day. So it's just rumors around.
Okay, I hear your Christmas are already tired already, okay? So let me tell you that I'm very different. My Christmas consists of one gathering with my family and that's about it.
That sounds pretty boring.
No, it's fantastic. It's quality time. So on 24th December, I will usually have a family dinner on Christmas Eve. And then on some years, if I'm feeling a bit generous in my social tank, I'll go for one more social gathering with my old friends and that's about it. Fantastic Christmas, very quiet, very nice. And I think for me, Christmas, right, it's not so much about the, like, okay, I don't know, like, I really love Christmas. Love Christmas.
Same.
And
I love Christmas.
I think, right, I love Christmas, like, because of the Christmas cheer. It has nothing to do with the gatherings, to be honest. Like, I don't really look forward to like, wow, Christmas can meet like 5 groups of friends, can like go here, go there non-stop. I like, no thank you. To me, Christmas is fantastic because of the atmosphere, because all the lights are very nice. Like, there are Christmas songs, Michael Bublé, Mariah Carey, things like that, right? And I just love it, like the vibe. So honestly, right, even if I'm alone, right, Christmas will be fantastic. As long as I can play some like Michael Bublé, Mariah Carey, sit at Chimes, look at the lights.
Then you can celebrate Christmas any time of the year, right?
No, different. Michael Bublé haven't come out of his cave. So I need to come out. And Christmas is just generally quite special for my family. I remember we are the kind that like my mum will, or my parents and my aunts, right, will like buy presents for us, but we cannot open it until Christmas Day itself, right? So 24th December midnight is actually very special. It's like I will purposely stay up. Chinese New Year, I go and sleep. But the show year, like, okay, sleep lah. But like Christmas is like, I must stay up, right? 12 midnight. Then I get to open my presents and wow, that's when the best day of the year begins. So I think generally Christmas has always had this like special air and like aura to it, a bit magical for me, a bit like Disneyland, you know, for me since I was a young kid. And even now as an adult, I may not always need to go parties, right, but Christmas still holds that significance for me.
So interestingly, right, I actually have quite different growing up experience because to me, right, growing up, right, Christmas is not exactly a very big thing in my family. So, but my mom once in a while, right, like a few years in my growing up years, right, she'll actually bring me to Orchard Road to see all the lights and then play with the bubble foam, fake kind of like white
At
Christmas, right? So Tanglin Mall, whatever, right? So it's like I know it's just bubble, even though I'm young, not that gullible, right? So it's like just bubble. So I'm like so I don't really like it because like go there first and foremost, it's very crowded. Second of all, it's like wow, very very tiring, right? And then last and foremost, I cannot play my games, I cannot like watch my show, right? So I was like, growing up,
you
right?
rather spend Christmas like at home?
I mean, when I'm young, right? Back then, no social media. There's no such thing as like how an ideal Christmas can look like. So to me, right, it's like Christmas, okay, not that important. But only when I grow older, right? When I go to like probably secondary school or even older, right? I start to invited into many like Christmas gatherings. Then that's when the joy of Christmas, right? Like open my eyes to the wonders of Christmas, like log cakes, not just log cake, but turkey.
So essentially food.
Food is one thing that opened my eyes, but also that joy, that atmosphere, you know, like listening to Christmas like jingles, music, then after that also just like hanging until late, going to different parties. I think it becomes like very fun lah. Like so to me, right, ever since like maybe secondary school onwards, right, Christmas to me, right, becomes like a time, right, of gathering with my loved ones, friends and family. So for like 10 over years, right, Christmas has always been about going out with people. Festive season, right, is always going out with people, right? So I cannot imagine a Christmas, right, where I just went alone in a cafe, drinking coffee and watching Singapore rain. Yeah, I cannot imagine that.
Wow. We are so different. Okay, so right, if ever like you don't have plans for Christmas, let's say nobody asks you out, nobody initiate like a party with you, will you feel very sad?
Yeah, of course. Like I think, right, sad is like understatement. I'll probably be like emo and like damn emo. You have no form of comparison. So even in my primary school, I don't celebrate Christmas, right? I don't feel like FOMO. I don't feel like I miss out anything. Only when like we grow up, right? Then there's social media. Wow, then you don't have many plans, right? Then you see your friends, go Christmas Wonderland. Then MBS like to have those kind of carnival during like end of the year. Then you see people having like girlfriend. After that, you see them hang out with a bunch of friends, right? Then you'll feel like, wow, actually I will feel quite sad and lonely during that season. Like I think in the even recent years like before I was like I think all the more maybe before I was attached and like with my girlfriend and not currently wife, right? So I remember like Christmas, right, there's many festive season in Singapore, like, so usually to me most festive season, right, I will spend with people. But the thing is this, like Christmas, right, is very different, like almost got this like magical feeling, right, that that you want to spend with your like your most beloved people, right? So for a guy, right, it'll be nice to go with a bunch of guys to Christmas Wonderland.
Really?
It'll be nice, but it'll be nicer, right, to go with the one, right, like to go like with your girlfriend or your wife, like to just like, because it's very strange, right? A bunch of like maybe like 10 NS guys, like Bota, like we go Bota, right? Then we all like go inside Christmas Wonderland, play with the bubble. I think it's a bit it's a little bit strange, right? So that's why like, so when I wasn't attached then, right, I think not being able to go for parties or whatever, I do feel quite kind of sad lah. Yeah. So so that's why Christmas all the more so, because Christmas has this like lovey-dovey gathering kind of atmosphere that's quite different from other festive season in Singapore.
Yeah. So these were things you remember feeling before, is it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do you feel back then like, when you went for your 3 parties, that's just one example lah, right? But other examples, like, do you feel like it was motivated by that fear of being alone?
Correct. I think right, if that particular incident, right, is definitely motivated by like maybe pleasing people kind of thing, right? It's because like I could have stayed in one party and then just like enjoy the rest of the time, right? But because like, okay, everybody chill, right? Then I don't want to disappoint them, and then I need somebody don't chill me, then I will feel lonely kind of thing, right? So so I'll try to make it lah. So after I'm done with my first one, right, then I'll like, I rush off to the next one. Then after that, go with the second one, then I'll also rush off for the third one. So and it all happens at the same time. So you have to either you reject others and go for one, or you have to try to squeeze it out. And a big part of that motivation, right, it's not because I enjoy the traveling and the rushing. Yeah, but the big part is like maybe like you feel lonely next time, like people know you always bang sand, right? They never chill you, all this.
Has that happened to you before?
Has that happened to me before? I would say more or less lah. As you grow older in your social circles, right, you realize that you will not be able to meet all these commitments in your life, right? You just cannot, because you start to have different things in your life. I think as well compared to when you were students, you have more time, right? You can next day you go, because it's usually hit your sem break or your holiday, right? You can just hang out till late at night. But we are now working, right? So you know that I have to sleep. If not tomorrow, I can't work. All the same. So life just hit you, right? And then next time when you're married, then you have other commitments, and you have kids, you have all these commitments, right? So I realized that like along the way, right, and you can make more friends also. Like you change module, then you have changed like different life station, you have different friends having gathering, right? So you just cannot keep up with all these things, one. And sometimes it still eats into me, like, I cannot keep up, and I feel very, very bad about it. Yeah, and I feel sometimes borderline guilty. Yeah, so
I actually feel like what you described is quite a common Christmas period like experience. In fact, I would say it's probably like an end of year thing, right? With Christmas, with New Year. It's like the whole year, right, got 12 months to meet, but everybody want to meet in that 2 weeks, you know? It's like your secondary school friends, your JC friends, army friends, poly friends, whatever, all also want to meet in that 2 weeks. And like, okay, I don't know how extroverts tend to feel about it. Maybe because like y'all have a bigger social tank. Maybe it's exciting lah, right?
Yeah.
I imagine your ideal December is you get to spend time with all your friends and like keep hanging out non-stop.
Yeah, non-stop.
I once told him, right,
Marathon.
when I took a 2-week annual leave, I said my biggest nightmare is if in these 2 weeks, right, every single day somebody wants to hang out with me. And he said, oh my gosh, that's my dream. Like, stay away from me.
Your nightmare is my dream.
I really cannot. Yeah. So like sometimes when I imagine these like 2 weeks or like this end of the year period when everybody wants to cram social gatherings and I imagine having to turn up for every single one of them, the thought of that drains me already. And I guess for me, okay, maybe because I generally like don't want to go for things just because I feel obligated to go. So I end up like not going for some or saying that I'm unavailable. But I do understand that tension that you feel because you feel bad lah, right? Somebody invite you, then like you don't turn up. Then does it say something about the way you value them as a friend?
Correct.
Yeah, in fact, I feel this one, actually it reminded me of like one of the, like this feeling that I had during like the Christmas period some years ago lah. Because like I feel like Christmas is a period where, you know, generally if you run into people like towards the end of the year or like you small talk with them, then everybody always says they want to catch up during Christmas. It's like
it's true.
Christmas is always a good reason, right, for reunions and for gatherings, and they're always saying that like they want to meet up. And I'm the kind of person that I take this thing quite seriously. So like if somebody tells me that they want to hang out or they want to meet me during Christmas period, right, I will remember and I will actually like kind of block out time in my calendar. But I had some experiences where a few friends like said that to me, right? Then I blocked it out. Then I realized that like that period of time is coming and nobody is saying anything.
Empty
so I go
promise.
and ask I go and ask in the group chat like, hey, are we still meeting? Because I blocked out like that date, right? Then everybody got plans on, you know. Then I felt so cheated. I was like, piang. I go and like, I'm so busy, you know. I go and save my time for you, and then in the end, like you go and fill your time. I mean, while I can joke about it, back then I think it made me feel quite unimportant. Honestly, it made me feel like, you make these kind of like empty promises, and I feel maybe that's one of the things that sometimes comes out with these kind of like heightened reunion seasons, right? That question, like, where do I stand in your life? Am I important enough to these people that they would want to hang out with me, or that they'll bother to block out time for me? Like, is that linked to the idea of like, I guess, loneliness and like being afraid of spending it alone?
I think there's two portions for myself. I think one is a personality thing. Some people enjoy being alone. Some people are okay being alone, but some really enjoy being with people. So for me, there's that portion that is true that I enjoy spending Christmas or festive season celebrating with people. So even for myself, right, I did talk to my wife before. Like when we were dating, right, I did tell her like, hey, because she enjoyed going overseas during festive season. So I did tell her like, hey, you know, I don't like to go overseas during festive season, right? I really want to like catch up with my friends, my family, and like spend time with them, right? Then she's like, then how? I said, don't go lor.
Hey,
just kidding. I'll go with you if you're watching this. So we are going also. So the thing is that like for me, I don't particularly enjoy. So there's a part of me that enjoys spending festive season with people. But it's also true that there's a part of me, right, that I feel maybe worried about being lonely, like, and like feel a bit FOMO, like not being able to be joked into all these like fun gatherings, right? Then I'll like feel very like sad lah that I'm not like celebrating with them, all these things. So it's true that growing up, right, there's that loneliness and that FOMO, right? Wherever festive season, right, I don't have gathering with my friends.
What are some thoughts that might cross your mind during those seasons? Like, will you wonder like, hey, Christmas coming up, like, will people invite me to parties? Will people want to meet me?
Yes, for sure. So usually, right, like you don't actually feel it before that, maybe because you're like busy with work or whatever, right? But then if you realize you don't actually make any plans, right? Nearing there, right, everybody's plans already filled already.
Plans.
Yeah, so actually like maybe one day before Christmas, you ask, hey, anybody want to hang out tomorrow? And then, sorry, I cannot. Yeah, actually, I feel like maybe I'm not a priority. I think that's one lah. Maybe some like not a priority, or like I'm not on people's mind. They're like, hey, they want to spend Christmas together with me. So actually, I do feel sad over some of these thoughts. You see, like it's like, and I think it's a very real thoughts lah that I do experience growing up, right? And also because maybe because right, all the more so, right, like there's a lot of like shows like Love Actually or even social media, you see like people are all enjoying. Or only the people who are enjoying your post on social
It's
media,
true lah.
right?
Nobody will post at home. I think 菜饭
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
Day.
You get what I mean? So all the more when you are like, for example, right, you sleep late, then you wake up at like 2 or 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Then you scroll your Instagram. Everybody is having gathering, right? Then actually you yourself lying on your bed gnawing, right? Then all your Netflix and Disney Plus show you finish watching it, then nothing to do, right? Then actually you actually feel a bit emo. And worse still, your family go overseas, nobody cook for you, right? I think like it's like not like it's like a very like lonely Christmas lah. So I think it's a real thing that I've experienced before. Yeah. Have you ever felt that way though? Like
Yeah, so
lonely?
I'm trying to remember now. I think maybe lonely, yes, but not exactly during Christmas lah. I think just because I think I am my own hype woman on Christmas. It's like I wake up like, yes, it's Christmas. Then like, today's gonna be a good day no matter what. Nothing's gonna ruin my vibe.
I can see that when you're trying to dress
exactly.
up.
It's like the start of this episode, they play all the music. I'm like, wow, Christmas. But like, so Christmas to me is so special that like very few things like spoil my Christmas. Or like I try very hard to not let things spoil my Christmas. No, you're going overseas. Get out of my life. But so I think not really during Christmas, maybe because I usually am quite intentional to make plans with people who are close to me lah. Yeah, I think for me, interestingly, I think I felt loneliness for the first time like during circuit breaker. And I don't know whether it's because I just like don't remember the previous times very clearly lah. But I think just because growing up at home, I'm typically quite engaged by my parents, so they will talk to me quite a bit. But I remember that like during circuit breaker when I moved into my in-laws place, right, because like everybody was kind of quite busy doing their own thing and we all had our own room. So there were quite a few days where I feel like I'm just cooped up in the room like doing my work on my own and no one really like engages me, talks to me. My husband is busy with work as well. And then that was very interesting to me because for the first time in my life, right, I actually felt a little bit lonely at home. And I took a while to understand that because it's very strange, ma. It's like, I'm married leh. Like, of all times, you wouldn't think that you're going to be lonely when you're married, right? So, like, I'm married. I live in a house with so many people. Like, how come I still feel lonely? And I realized that the thing that triggered that feeling was the feeling of being disengaged. Like, like no one really, like, comes to engage you, ask about your day, talk to you. And I feel perhaps like when it comes to festive seasons like Christmas, right, it could actually be that same route lah. The idea that like, does anybody think about me? Does anybody like want to talk to me? Do I matter to anyone? And I think that is possibly the thing that is common throughout these moments.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I think that even for myself, right, growing up in my family, right, because my mom and my dad, they are separated. So a lot of this festive season, right, and my family are not big on such festive season. So actually growing up, right, then you see, I do feel it quite a fair bit, like the kind of like during festive season, right, then you are not engaged or cared for, or like people actually ask you how you feel, because I mean everybody also have your gathering ma, like when you and Ryan, they were like going for your gathering, right, but for myself, my family, I wouldn't have. So so all these things does eat into someone.
So how was navigating that loneliness like for you?
So interestingly, right, growing up, right, I always thought maybe having people around me, right, will probably like help me in my loneliness. So that's why like having many friends or going for many gatherings or catch up or during this festive season, right, it sort of help you in your loneliness. And also, right, maybe some people also have the idea, even for myself, right, I thought like, okay, maybe I feel lonely now, right, one day when I have a girlfriend or a wife, right, I probably won't feel lonely anymore, right? But actually it's not true. For my experience at least, right, it's not true, because there's just like some things that people cannot offer to cure that loneliness in my heart. So for myself, right, I ask myself through this, as I go through and spend time with a lot of people, right, and it still didn't cure that loneliness in my heart, right, I did ask myself how come all this things. And then as I reflect a little bit, right, I realized that it's a bit of my like life story and upbringing, because growing up, right, my family, they are not very major on festive seasons, or not even on my birthday. So they won't actually like celebrate birthdays or even milestones in my life like graduations, all these things, right? They are not exactly very big on it. And also I come from a broken family, right? So a lot of things, right, are not very major to them, right? And when I'm at home, right, I'm not exactly very engaged also. So they won't really ask me about my day or how things are, right? So growing up, right, I'm a little bit lonely and like crave for like
keep to yourself,
yeah,
is
keep
it?
to myself, and also not a lot of people to share life with, and like I don't really feel like people really understand me, and I crave for people to understand me and to be important to people, all these things lah. So this loneliness, right, has like stay in me for very, very long. And I think the peak came right in NS. I think many NS guys will know, right, that during NS, right, it's a time, right, where your loneliness, right, will actually explode.
Wow.
Yeah, because what happens is that you go into NS, right, you have to go through all the trainings, and then you come out, right, not a lot of people understand what you train, but you have to still fulfill your commitment, right, either as a son at home, right, or you have to like have different responsibility outside, right, you have to still show up for it even though you are very tired, right. So I remember in NS, right, this loneliness, right, actually was very, very strong for me. And I remember during my BMT, right, what happened, right, was that I think in one particular incident, right, I think one or 2 days before my field camp, I was having a very, very like a fever, right, that it's like made me very, very tired, very, very sick, right. But then I want to quickly recover so that I can go into the field camp. So I remember going to the field camp, I was really feeling very horrible already. So I still getting scolded by all my sergeant, all my officer, right, scolded. Then was still, right, then when we trying to like do all our stuff, right, then it rain, right. Then at the end of the night, I'm like, wow, like what happened? What's going on, right? So I feel like at that point, right, I have not really no one to turn to. There's no phone, whatever. I have no one to turn to. I have no one to share that loneliness to, right? And all the guys, they probably don't care about like they will ask you like how are you, all these things. Like, they never really like ask each other how is it, right? So I actually feel that intense loneliness, right, in me. And at the moment, right, even though I'm surrounded by a lot of people, right, all my friends, section mates, all these things, right, it didn't exactly cure that loneliness. But at the moment, as I reflect, as I take time to think through about my life, why do I feel that sense of loneliness, right? Even though I'm always surrounded by people, always going for parties, having friends, having gatherings, having loved ones, right? Why do I feel so lonely? Then I realized that it is this void in me, right, that like really crave for attention and crave for belonging with people. And then, but the thing is that there's no one that can ever like 24 hours always with me one lah. So as I take time to reflect about this a little bit more, right, I have start to have some revelation, and I start to know my God, right, as a very, very personal friend. He's a friend, right, that actually cares for me. He's a friend that journeys with me through ups and downs, different seasons. He understands and is with me through different seasons. So that's why after I have this sort of like little breakthrough, right, I start to understand that whether I'm with people or not with people, whether is it festive season or not with festive season, right, actually my loneliness, right, has don't need to have like such a power over me, right, because I have a God that is my friend that understands and walks with me lah. So yeah, so that's a bit of how I deal with that loneliness and my journey so far.
Yeah.
I start to figure out for myself that I think I have to be comfortable with myself being alone first and being comfortable with my own self. So if before I get like swept into this loneliness and try to be very FOMO, joining all the gatherings and try to allow this to fuel me, right, I try to like take some time to reflect and just like be comfortable with myself lah. So I think that's one of the things that I try to do.
Actually, as you were sharing this, I suddenly remembered this conversation we were having before this episode, right? We were talking about whether we eat alone. And then I said, like, I love eating alone. Like, I love to have me time. I'll go to Dumpling Darling, sit there, order one plate of dumplings, some more noodle, eat, and then, like, watch show, all right. And then I remember I asked you, like, do you like to eat alone? And then you were saying that actually it's a habit that you kind of make yourself do, to train yourself to develop that kind of, like, friendship with God and that discipline to be on your own and be okay with that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I actually like hearing your NS story. I feel like I see what you're doing with that, and I see how you actually carve out space in your life to actively deal with your struggles with loneliness to grow yourself in it. Yeah, and I think that's quite cool and that's quite amazing. So as somebody who struggles with that sense of, I guess, loneliness and uncertainty with like where you stand, right? Like what were some things that you learned?
For myself, right, I've learned that in this season, it's important for myself not to have this comparison with others, or even have this gauge, right, that the amount of gatherings I've gone to is a gauge of how loved I am by people around me. I think it's important for me, right, to know that I think in every season, festive season or not festive season, to learn to be a friend with people, to people around me, right, to love, to cherish a friendship, to treasure them, and to always make effort. So even if this special season, right, I know that I'm having a lot of gathering, and I may feel tired for the day, or I know that I think it's too stretched for me in this season. I don't have to feel compelled to attend to some of these gathering, right? I can maybe ask to reschedule, and I can ask to meet them another time,
right?
and not in fear that if I don't attend, right, I'm not a friend to them, and they feel that I'm not a friend to them, because ultimately, I think in every season I learn to be a friend. So I try to be comfortable and secure in this. Maybe in this season, if I really cannot, I'm okay to give it a miss, but I will catch it up another time. But however, if I'm there with my friends, I know I enjoy being with my friends, right? Then I try to be there and be present, catch up with them, enjoy this festive season with them, have fun, celebrate, and just catch up on people's lives. So I think for myself, right, is that I've also learned this important lesson, is that if I know that I want to catch up with people, right, I don't have to wallow in self-pity and I just emo, how come you all never jio me, right? But I can be the initiator to be a friend to someone. Hey, guys, want to catch up this Christmas or not? So I can also be the initiator. So in essence, these are things that I've learned now, how to be a friend to someone in this season, and how to be comfortable and secure in my own self in this season. If I need that space, fine. Yeah, I can always catch up another time. And even if as someone that invited to many gatherings and parties, right, does not mean that that means that this person is
It's
true.
It's
like
true.
love, but it's just maybe you just part of a group and people invite you along.
Yeah, have you felt that before? Am I
For
just
sure.
invited because I'm part of the clique?
For
you know?
sure, for sure. Yeah, I would say there are some. Yeah, not a lot, because usually small group is you're closer, but it's also a big group like 10 over people. Then you are just part of the group. Yeah.
Will you be tempted to not go?
Usually this kind of group, then I will find
because it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
is
it
it?
doesn't matter my presence doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I will just stop. Yeah.
I guess on the topic of being a friend, one of the things that I think I have learned to do, and I feel that you do it too, is to actually watch out for some people around us who may feel exceptionally lonely during these periods of time.
Correct.
So for example, if maybe they don't have family members in Singapore, and they're going to be in Singapore on their own on Christmas, or even Valentine's Day. I think that was something that I learned from you, because I realized that on Valentine's Day, you and your wife, you all have a habit of actually taking care of some of the single gal pals around you guys, right, and spending time with them. So I noticed that he did that. Then last year, actually, I made it a point to watch out for a few of the single gal pals that I have in my life, right, and kind of send them stuff to show them that I remember them on this day. And I feel actually that's a fantastic way to just build a sense of community around people during festive seasons. Many times I feel when we focus a lot on whether we are being asked to parties or whether people remember us, actually it can be quite self-absorbed. It feels bad, and so it feels a bit harsh to say that we're being self-absorbed, right? But actually a lot of times we just think about ourselves and how we feel. But actually, if we are able to turn our view outward, right, and to just wonder about actually, is this person covered for in this season? Does this person have anyone to spend Christmas Eve with? Does she know she's loved and remembered? And I think that would actually also give you a lot of joy, knowing that you can care for people like that.
Correct. Exactly. Because for myself, right, I grew up, I'm like that, in a sense of I grew up, I remember I shared just now that I grew up in a broken family, right? And also I naturally quite emo one, right? So that's why when these things happen to me, right, it's not sad is an understatement. I actually very, very emo, right, when I'm not invited. And I realized at some point that I'm actually a little bit self-absorbed. And of course it's true that okay, maybe I can make more effort, or I can do whatever, right? But it reminded me that actually in this season, right, more than just looking out for myself, maybe there are a lot of people that feels the same way as me, and I should also try to be a friend to them as well, watching out for them and being a friend in this season to them. So that's why in such festive season, right, I will try to think about people that in general. So Christmas is definitely one. Chinese New Year is one, because I have interaction with many youths that comes with broken family as well. Either their parents pass away very, very early, or they are divorced and they don't have a complete family to celebrate Christmas together, right? And also Valentine's Day, right? I have many friends that approaching older, and then they are not married yet, right? So these are occasions that actually, because I went through that same loneliness, right? I know that they do feel the same way, and I think instead of like just feeling,
Now I have, then I take for myself.
right, but actually it's learning to be a friend to them in this season as well. So so this is just like a learning point I have as I navigate this. I will not say that like I totally not FOMO anymore. I mean, I can't say that, right? But I think these are some learnings that I've have along the years.
I really like what you said about being an initiator. And in fact, I feel like the end of year season is a very good time to do that. Just because there's so many like different activities around, right?
Exactly.
Like if you want to spend money, you can go to Christmas Wonderland. If you want to do something free, you can like, I don't know, walk down Orchard Road or just go and soak in the Christmas cheer at MBS. Oh my gosh, I went to MBS that day with my friends, right? The Christmas decorations there are insane. It's like all the Christmas trees in Singapore ended up in MBS, okay? Go and take a look. Every 2 steps, you will knock into a Christmas tree. So I think there are so many of these activities that we can even just bring our friends along with us to just enjoy it together. I know that in this season, like many churches are also having like Christmas programs. Some of them have musicals, some of them have productions. And it's probably just a fun way to spend Christmas as well. I think for our church, we are having it on like the 24th and 25th, right? Like it's gonna be like, I think, a drama production
about multiverse.
Multiverse. So if you have nothing to do, you can just pop by as well, bring your friends along and just join in the Christmas cheer and celebration together with all of us and we may even see you there. So I think there's just so many activities that we can do together with our friends, but more than the activity, more than the gatherings, the parties that we're going for, actually at the end of the day, it's how meaningful the connections will be and I believe as we have meaningful connections, whether it's one party or 3 parties, it will probably be quite a meaningful time of celebration and closing the year together. So I think we talked about quite a lot of things in today's episode. Zheng Kai, I hope you enjoy your Taiwan trip and you're not too sad that you are going to be missing parties. You can come back and we will have more Christmas parties with you next year. So
I hope you have more parties and not so boring also.
I do not wish that for myself. I'm very satisfied with my Christmas. But we will see. We will see whether I feel excited enough to go and spend more time with people. So we've come to the end of our episode for today. And if you enjoy our content, please feel free to find us on ngl.people on Instagram, TikTok. You can find our podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and please go ahead and share this with anybody you want to spread the Christmas cheer with, especially if you know they may resonate with some of the things that we've talked about today. So until next time, I'm Nata, this is Zheng Kai, and we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Bye!